If we are to survive, we must unite behind our own king.
We have no kings here.
I am your king.
Black Sails. After Spartacus went off the air in 2013, stars would have been wanting another show with similar characteristics to be able to fill its void. Step into the frame Captain Flint and the lawless island of Nassau. Nassau is the main port of a new province, which is controlled by many of history's most notorious pirates. The most feared of all, and who the series is focused on, Captain Flint. Portrayed by Toby Stephens, Flint leads his crew of pirates to a life of plunder on the high seas, which are no doubt the times where Black Sails shines its brightest. The ship battles are violent, intense, as Season 1 follows Flint's obsession with pursuing a unique treasure galleon known as the Urca de Lima. The ship's cargo hold is said to house over $5 million, enough to make any man want a share of its prize. Alongside Flint, Eleanor Guthrie, who controls Nassau's ports and trade, proves to become a very valuable ally. You learn pretty much straight away that Eleanor can handle herself, even if she is rash and volatile. She helps Flint on more than one occasion throughout the course of the season, even if at times it hinders her own judgment. But the reason that their bond is so strong is they both aim to achieve the same goal. They want to see Nassau become stronger, to be the home of a new pirate nation. And if Flint can get his hands on the prize from the Urca, the gold from it would prove an excellent way to make that scenario a living reality. Now Black Sails gets off to a very strong start. Thrusting us straight into battle, we watch the Walrus, Flint's flagship, tear through the target ship. Among the victims was one of our other main characters, who, if you've seen or read anything about pirates before, have probably heard of. John Silver, who after acquiring the missing page torn from the captain's log which contained the location of the Urca, joined up with Flint's crew. It didn't take long, of course, for Flint to discover that someone had stolen it, but at the time he had no idea who. So he used that to his advantage. Mutiny was close. A crew member, Singleton, intended to overthrow Flint's captaincy. He had already secured nearly enough votes, and with the crew having hit barely a plunder in its recent time, the crew was susceptible to the idea of having a new captain. None of them had any clue that Flint's search the past few months was all centred around the Urca's prize, because Flint never trusted any of them with the truth, and that was what very nearly cost him. If it wasn't for Gates, Flint's quartermaster and longtime friend, Singleton could have ousted Flint already. But there's a reason Captain Flint is a name to be feared. He manipulated the situation, pinned Singleton as the thief, and dispatched him in one-on-one combat. It was a key and pivotal moment for Flint, showing the audience that he would do anything to get what he was after. From then on, it was Flint, Gates and trusted crewmate Billy Bones attempting to work out who really stole the page. Silver almost lost it straight away, which was quite amusing, giving away that he was carrying something valuable to Max, who then attempted to help him sell it. A decision that she would certainly come to regret, and again cause further suspicion to aim the way of Silver. It didn't take Flint and Co long for them to figure out the true thief, but before they could get their hands on the page, Silver, as we discover he has a knack for, found a surviving way out of the situation. He burned the page, forcing Flint to keep him alive until at least the prize was in their grasp. Quite brilliant on Silver's behalf, and thankfully he has a very good memory to keep it locked up there permanently. Now onto Nassau itself. As mentioned, Eleanor and Mr. Scott provide the trade in which the pirate captains can sell their plunder. And Flint's crew are not the only big players there. Captain Charles Vane, his quartermaster Jack Rackham and his ruthless lover Anne Bonny make up a very deadly trio. Jack has the canny ability to be able to talk his way into and out of any given situation, where Anne shows herself to be a merciless companion. Vane has a history with Eleanor, some good, some not so good, and after Vane's crew beat and raped Max, Eleanor completely lost her control. She barred Vane from selling another piece of cargo and threatened anyone who stood alongside him with the same treatment she was dishing out to Vane. And from then we sort of lost Vane for a little while after that. He was constantly getting pissed and literally couldn't give a shit about anything anymore. Until, in his haze, he had a vision. The vision foresaw a large bearded man, someone who I guess you were slightly inclined to believe would be the infamous Blackbeard. Alas, not the case. You never really understand the full story of what was going on, but Vane returned to a place where he had long left when he was a boy, to find and free, as he called it, the crew that the mysterious man would be keeping on the island. It was a pretty cool fight between him and Vane, with Vane ultimately getting stripped and buried alive after almost winning the fist fight. But Charles Vane proved he's a hard man to keep down for good. Arising from the ground, Vane struck down the crew's leader, recruited them to his cause, and made a surprise return to Nassau in claiming Captain Hornigold's fort. So in that small space of time, Vane went from being a pirate captain to nothing, to nearly dead, and then to having complete control over Nassau and its trade. A very impressive turnaround. It will be interesting to see where his story takes us in Season 2. Now back to Flint. Toby Stephens is without a doubt the star of the show. He brings out a lot of the deep conflict that resides beneath Flint's skin. We find out that he fled from England alongside a woman called Mrs. Barlow, and turned to the life of piracy. The full reasons why are still shrouded in secrecy, and her mysteries are still to unravel even more so than Flint's. But when she sent that letter aboard Captain Bryson's ship, she almost caused everything Flint had been working for to come undone, and it showed that she really wasn't content with life the way it was currently going. Now Flint's first mate, Gates, goes out of his way to protect his captain and friend. He acts as sort of a moral compass for Flint, wanting him to do the right thing, and acting as Gates's moral compass was Billy Bones, another one of the show's best characters. His initial backing of Flint left poor Billy haunted by his choice, even if Gates continually informed him that he did the right thing. Gates always thought of him like a son, and grounded him to why the captain acts the way he does. But after the apparent death of Billy, Gates's world was turned upside down. He began to find it harder and harder to look the other way, and thought that maybe Flint did indeed view everyone under his command as expendable assets. Gates then began to bring in some of the other crew members to the story of the true events. And after Flint was to find his prize, the plan was to remove and kill him. If not for Silver, that could have been the way things went down. Whether or not Gates telling Flint he intended to have him shipped off before the crew got around to killing him remains to be seen. In the finale, whilst on the chase of the Urca, Dufresne attempted to remove Flint from command for his tyrannical crimes and shot him in the shoulder as he protested. And just as the ship was ready to turn around and head home, Silver fired a shot towards the Spanish man-o'-war, which was also looking for the Urca. Flint's genius plan had the enormous ship trapped between both of his own, but the desertion on deck and Dufresne's lack of authority when it was most needed caused that small window of attack that they needed to disappear in a flash. The man-o'-war devastated both ships, leaving Flint and a few members of his crew barely alive and shipwrecked on one of the small islands. And as it turned out, the ship-killer storm they sailed through earlier in the episode was the reason why the Urca wasn't where it was supposed to be. But, thanks to that bit of luck, Flint was able to find his prize, but it remains to be seen whether he will live to claim it. My overall verdict for the first season of Black Sails sits somewhere between a 7 and an 8, and truthfully, I enjoyed it a lot. so I am going to go with an 8 out of 10. The best parts of the show are no doubt when it's at sea. The high stakes ship combat coupled with some fast paced action provided a great spectacle to watch. And while not as exhilarating as being at sea, the power struggle over Nassau and villainous actions throughout nearly every pirate involved still proved to hold its own. The first episode did a great job of introducing us to the treacherous life of piracy, and episodes 1, 5, 6 and 8 are my standouts for the season, mainly again in part because of the brilliant high sea ship battles. The strongest performances came from both Toby Stephens' Flint and Mark Ryan's Mr. Gates, especially towards the latter end of the season, when Flint tearfully murdered his friend when he felt he was left with no choice. Silver continued to intrigue throughout, and you never know, maybe we're edging closer and closer to him becoming the legendary Long John Silver, and judging by his development thus far, I'd say that looks set to be the case. And pirates, in doing what they do, you expected a few deaths. Singleton and Hammond were the most pleasing of sorts. Both of them were horrid people, and that's being polite. Otherwise, Gates was the most notable casualty alongside the possible Billy Bones. We didn't see Billy for a long time after he fell from the side of the ship, but if we go from past material and the fact that we didn't see what truly happened to him, I expect that he's not dead at all. Season 2 will have to confirm that suspicion for me. Some may label Black Sails as a version of Spartacus, but just pirates. And I guess while through some extent it's true, the show has taken a similar mantle, Black Sails has more than enough about it for it to be able to stand firmly on its own 2 feet. Now for me, I'm off to watch Season 2. As always, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you on the next one.